Call of Duty is one of the biggest franchises in gaming history, but it's certainly not perfect. The COD team has made lots of mistakes over the years, and today we dive deep into what makes the franchise good or bad. What is up, everybody? Chaos here. These are going to be my picks for the biggest mistakes in COD history. There's some doozies on here. Yes, that's still a word. Let me know which of these frustrated you the most. Drop a like. Make sure you guys are subscribed. And remember, we are putting up Call of Duty videos during the day, whether that be COD history videos, ranking every in COD history, or Modern Warfare 2, or Warzone 2. And then in the evenings, we are doing gaming updates. We're doing leaks and rumors and news on the biggest gaming stories out there. So if you enjoy that as well, you get the best of both worlds. Let's start off with the Cold War Scorestreak system. Scorestreaks are supposed to reward you. They are, for playing well, but the Cold War system, it didn't agree. Black Ops Cold War had this strange hybrid of the Modern Warfare 3 support system and the traditional Black Ops Scorestreak layout where you progress, but you don't reset upon death, but it was all expensive, and there was actually a cooldown on streaks after you called them in because, I don't know. The system was heavily criticized for encouraging camping and not really promoting playing the objective, which is the whole point of Scorestreaks over kill streaks in the first place. The whole cooldown thing was also widely hated by the community because it essentially punished you for playing well by preventing you from using your rewards after earning them. I'm hoping Treyarch doesn't use this system again in future projects because there really wasn't anything it did better than the classic BO2 Scorestreak method. Next up, requisitions. Whew. COD World War II. Basic trainings were a bit of a controversial addition to the game. Don't worry, we'll talk about them later in the video. But perhaps the most hated one of them had to be requisitions. If you played on shipment, you probably experienced plenty of this spam, assuming it didn't crash your game. Requisitions was a basic training that meant your score streaks didn't reset upon death, but you could only earn them once in a game. So naturally, everybody, absolutely everybody was running this on shipment with the highest, most devastating scripts equipped. And then for 4 or 5 minutes into the match, the spam began. Bombing runs, paratroopers, gunships, they all came in at once, and since nobody actually earned them, everybody was calling them in. It was a huge mistake. I'm thankful stuff like this isn't in the game anymore. I mean, other than the Cold War Scorestreak system, but I digress. Fire shotguns. Fire shotguns are awesome. I'm not going to deny that. But we need to be honest about how annoying and problematic they are. Incendiary shotguns were introduced in COD World War II, but they hit critical mass in Modern Warfare and Cold War, which pretty much everybody was using him, spamming him. Dying by shotgun spam is bad enough, but fire shotguns really made things worse because if somebody wasn't close enough to get the one-shot kill, the burning effect would finish you off before you could do anything. Sure, incendiary shells usually impact the user's damage range, but who's using a shotty at long range? These things were too good. They were too annoying, and I think it's time for them to be deleted from COD altogether. Before we move on, guys, if you get anything from G2A.com, consider using code CHAOS to get yourself some cash back. That PC game, those Steam keys, whatever you're looking for. The link is at the top of the description. Now, I'm going to just say a whole game. Infinite Warfare. Now, people like the game, but it was a huge disaster for Activision, and none of it had to happen. After Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3, the community was ready to go back to boots on the ground, but instead we got Infinite Warfare in 2016, which was the most dramatic jump into the future we've ever had. Infinite Warfare was a decent game on its own. The campaign was great. Wrong place, wrong time, ended up setting Call of Duty back as a franchise. A lot of people left the franchise after that game came out. It took a long time for Activision to earn those fans back to their side, assuming they did. Speaking of 2016, Modern Warfare Remastered's distribution. It was supposed to be the savior of Call of Duty. The main series was jumping further and further in the future, and a remake of COD 4 seemed like an incredible idea. It was. The hype for MWR was honestly a lot higher than Infinite Warfare leading up to the release of both games, but once people found out how the remake was being distributed, the hype left the building. In order to get the game, you had to buy the deluxe edition of IW, which was $80. And if you were only interested in Modern Warfare Remastered, there's no way you were going to drop $80 on it, and then it ended up dramatically reducing the amount of potential players on the servers. It was a great game. It was perfectly updated from the original. I mean, Raven did great, but the business model, it made it die extremely quick. And today, the servers are dead. Shutting down COD Online. For those that somehow don't know, COD Online was a PC-exclusive game released only in China that was basically a best-of Call of Duty title. Now, it never got an official international release, but there were workarounds. You could get access to it outside of China if you had a VPN, if you were lucky enough. I mean, it was cool. Maps, weapons, perks from all the Golden Age CODs, and it all came together to create the perfect Call of Duty multiplayer that we were asking for years. The community begged Activision, I begged, to make a game like this accessible globally. But they shut it down in order to focus on COD Mobile and Warzone as their main free-to-play offerings. And I get it, it was a home run, but it was a shame because this was the exact game that we were looking for. I mean, COD Mobile or something like it gets released on PC and console eventually, but COD Online, it's officially dead. It's a heartbreaker too. It really, really is. But you can go play Plutonium. Supply drop guns in AW and Black Ops 3. Now, supply drops were genuinely an interesting way to shake up a post-launch formula for COD content. I remember the day we were at Sledgehammer and they introduced them to us. We watched the presentation. We were like, oh my gosh. Yes, they got predatory very quickly. But in the moment, we were all hyped. There's never been so much post-launch content distributed so quickly, but once the weapons started being added to the mix, things got a little bit out of hand. Supply drop exclusive weapons were introduced in Advanced Warfare, variants, new guns entirely. Then the problem got worse in Black Ops 3. The number of available weapons would decrease and the chances of pulling something got lower. If my memory serves me correct, there was a 0.8% chance of pulling a gun from a rare in a Black Ops 3 supply drop. And since these weapons were almost always top tier, the cries of pay to win were flying around everywhere. Post-launch weapons are now distributed in a much more fair way, but back in the prime time of loot boxes, whew, it was the wild, wild west. Divisions in COD World War II. COD is known for its customization. You have a lot of perks to pick from, different combinations, gunsmith, weapons, score streaks, kill streaks, lethals, tacticals. However, Sledgehammer decided to take things way back to the basics with COD World War II, and most of the community agreed they went too far. Instead of having 3 perks to pick, you had 1 basic training, and the rest of your character traits were dictated by whatever division you were currently playing. Now, it was cool to have an upgradable division that would reward you with more abilities as you played, but the lack of customization made the game feel too streamlined. I'm not saying COD World War II is a bad game, it's in a much better spot now, but it could have been so much better with the classic 3-perk system, and this is the same studio that gave us Advanced Warfare and gave us the most customization we've ever seen. Wildcards in Black Ops Cold War. They were introduced in Black Ops 2. They became a staple of the series. They returned in Black Ops 3 and 4 with pretty much identical functions. However, Treyarch decided to make them a lot more powerful in Black Ops Cold War, and frankly, they went too far. The wildcards usually did something relatively small. Add an extra perk, add an extra attachment, but for some reason the wildcards in Cold War, they were insane. The Gunfighter wildcard will let you take 3 extra attachments. Perk Greed let you take 3 extra perks, which was insane. Lawbreaker let you equip any gun and any perks in any category. In Danger Close, it let you spawn in with an extra lethal and tactical equipment. They were game changers. Probably too much of a game changer. Too much impact on the gameplay. One-man army in Modern Warfare 2. Perhaps the most memorable thing about that game, and the whole game was insane. Infinity Ward cranked it up. Every aspect of COD 4 up to 11. While most of it was good, they went a little too far with some. One-man army was a blue perk. It allowed you to change your class. You didn't without dying, but given how powerful certain things were, grenade launchers, RPGs, claymores, it meant you could sit in a corner, infinitely resupply your ammo, and get free nukes. IW did a great job with what they were attempting back in the original Modern Warfare 2, but one-man army, it was such an insane balancing oversight that it amazes me it got through testing. Yes, it gave some extra flavor, and I'm certainly nostalgic for all those cross-map grenade launcher nuke videos. I'm not holding my breath for this to ever come back. No campaign in Black Ops 4. Thankfully, some light has been shed on this story in recent weeks, actually. We finally have a clear idea of what happened. No matter how you look at it, Black Ops 4 was the first and only mainline Call of Duty game to not have a single-player campaign. Now, Treyarch claimed they never planned to have one, but we got intel that there was a very new and ambitious take on campaign gameplay that got pretty far into development before being shut down. Despite not having it, Black Ops 4 is still priced at $60, which really bothered a lot of people in the community. Since Black Ops 4, no other COD game is launched without a campaign, which is good. But since the precedent's been set, there's no telling whether or not future COD games will do the same. The Black Ops Pass in Black Ops 4. Around that time, COD's competition was starting to ditch season passes and paid DLCs. Halo 5, free DLC. Battlefield 5, free DLC. Free-to-play games like Fortnite, free DLC. It was rumored Activision was going to follow suit and finally make Call of Duty less expensive to keep up with, but when we got the announcement of the Black Ops Pass, not only was it another paid DLC strategy, it was all or nothing. You could no longer just buy DLC packs you wanted. You had to buy them all or none. The community was, safe to say, pissed about the decision to directly go against the grain and indirectly increase the price of Call of Duty, but thankfully backlash was strong, and the paid DLC was removed from the franchise altogether the following year. Black Ops 4 generated a lot of controversy for a number of reasons, but the Black Ops Pass, it was probably the worst. The Modern Warfare 2019 Minimap. I'm just going to say it. Taking red dots off the minimap, it's a bad idea. Call of Duty is a fast-paced arcade shooter, and putting enemy gunfire on your minimap was essential to the game flow. So when IW decided to get rid of this and require a kill streak to restore it, you can imagine how much it impacted the pace of the game. If you couldn't tell where enemy gunfire was, you had less of an idea as to where they were spawning. If you didn't know where anybody was spawning, it made the game feel super random because enemies were appearing for random directions with no warning. Vanguard tried to remedy it with a perk that restored it. Why not just make it default? Why not just make it default, right? Right. Skill-based matchmaking in, wasn't it in Advanced Warfare? We'll say from Modern Warfare 2019 onward, it got really bad. Skill-based matchmaking, it's existed for a long time, but I think it used to be basic, something simple to keep the brand new players from getting trashed every single lobby right after buying a game. But with Modern Warfare 2019, it was cranked up. You rarely actually play with random people. Connection is no longer king. Instead, it's all about your recent performance and how well the algorithm can connect you with other players who will keep you playing the game longer as you keep chasing that one great game hour after hour. It's allegedly addicting, but for people like me, it drove me away from the game. I don't play COD to go sweat everything off 10 times in an hour. I want to have fun and goof off and pub stomp every once in a while. The strict skill-based matchmaking has single-handedly pushed a lot of people away. And at number 1, breaking up lobbies. Cranking up skill-based matchmaking was a massive mistake, but perhaps the biggest one with modern COD multiplayer, it's the removal of post-game lobbies. Every time you finish a match of people you're playing with, they all have to queue up for a new match, meaning you can't have lasting friendships, rivalries, and you can't vote for the next map. You can't establish anything, and people are just generally less talkative now because why would you talk when you're not going to see them again? People just use private chats and Discord now when playing COD because the social aspect of the game, it's pretty much been eliminated. Everybody used to be so talkative back in the day, and I've made so many friends in Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 3 lobbies, but when's the last time you made a friend in Modern Warfare Vanguard? Really, seriously. And there you have it. Those are some of the biggest mistakes in Call of Duty history. Now, I don't want to be a negative here because a lot of this led to good stuff, and a lot of these are because they were trying to innovate, and I get that, but these just didn't work. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you soon.